1010 XL 92.5 FM.
All right, welcome in. Thanks so much for being with us. This is the Frangie Show. Frank is on vacation this week, but Ryan O'Halloran, sports columnist of the Times-Union, kind enough to join JJ and myself all week long. It's good to see you. How you doing?
I'm good. We have nothing to talk about what happened last night because I know you're not going to be about Panthers-Bruins.
Marchand, how about that?
Yeah, just got choked up on the bench during the tribute video, so that was good. And I gave the NBA about 90 seconds.
Okay.
And it was like a timeout. And then I wanted to see what Michael Jordan had to say at halftime, his exclusive debut as a contributor.
Yeah.
He shot a free throw at somebody's house during the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
Great.
And poor Mike Tirico has to act like it's the greatest story he's ever been told.
Yeah. Mike, laugh at anything. Okay.
We're paying him $70 million for this. So anything he says is very, very funny and insightful. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I didn't see any of that. As you guys know, I don't really pay attention to the NBA until our Loser Monday NBA Finals bet. But anyway, yeah, it's good that the association is back for all of its fans. We got a lot to get to. Obviously, we're going to talk a ton of Jaguars today. You've got some incredible access with Liam Coen that we're going to get into in great depth in our next segment. And obviously, you guys can look forward to reading that at jacksonville.com. Ryan is just, as you would expect, just doing such a phenomenal job of giving us information into all sorts of different elements, but particularly this Jaguars administration, and this is great stuff. He's got a chance to read it, really enjoyed it, so I know the fans will really respond to it well. But I want you to have the chance to talk about it and promo it, here as well. But lots of things happening just around today. Lamar Jackson back at practice as the 1-5 Ravens host the Bears on Sunday. John Harbaugh didn't want to say he's going to play, but you have to think if he's practicing on a Wednesday with the hamstring, he's missed a couple of games. You got to think that's a good sign. Can Baltimore get back in this at 1-5?
I mean, I think they can. The reason he's practicing is 1-5.
Yeah.
This is it.
You're out of mulligans.
Because 1-6, you're done.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about Baltimore. Not only are they 1-5, they haven't made a stop the entire season.
Right.
That's the concerning part if you're John Harbaugh and the Ravens. So they come off the bye, and if you're Lamar Jackson, the Ravens have to figure, okay, 76.7% of Lamar is better than 100% of Cooper Rush, and who didn't even make it through his second start. Once again, shoddy team building by a contender by not taking the backup quarterback spot seriously. But with the Ravens, if they can beat the Bears at home, now you're 2-5. Yes, they can get hot if they figure some things out defensively. They're going to put up points.
Yeah.
Can they start, getting off the field a little bit on defense?
Another quarterback injury news today. Unfortunate for Washington. Jaden Daniels likely to miss Monday Night Football against the Chiefs with a hamstring injury. So that stings for the Jaguars. You're in a fight with the Chiefs for seeding, and now Marcus Mariota will start for Washington in that game. So obviously, the Chiefs would have been the favorite anyway, even with Daniels. But certainly now not having to face him, makes the game easier for Kansas City. So unfortunate news, but that's tough. Such a great electric player, and he's just having a really tough year with injuries so far.
That's one thing we talked about during our quarterback draft yesterday was the concern with Daniels is he is obviously athletically gifted, but he is lean, and he has got a knee injury that missed time this year. Now the hamstring. For somebody that plays the way he does, that hamstring thing could be a problem. To rule him out 5 nights before the game means I don't think that is a short-term one-game injury. And you're right about this playoff seeding. If you're a Jaguar fan, that's what you're looking for now. That's what you're watching. That's why you watch the Texans lose. The Jags have the head-to-head against Kansas City, which could be critical in terms of the AFC. But Kansas City will win Monday night. They'll be a half game ahead of the Jags for that 7th spot.
Without a doubt, a crazy story in Major League Baseball today is Tennessee Vols coach Tony Vitelli takes the San Francisco Giants job, a historic hire. In terms of Major League Baseball. We just don't ever see that. Frank and I have talked about this, over the years about. It's one of those things that was always sort of a puzzling as to why it doesn't happen, but it's just one of those things. It doesn't happen. Why do you think San Francisco, this is the definition of thinking outside the box. Why do you think San Francisco made this move?
Well, Buster Posey's the one calling the shot, former Seminole, so he's a college baseball guy. So he obviously looks at the Tennessee program in terms of player development, in terms of analytics and strategy. And if you're Buster, you pretty much have a piece of the team, so you can take a swing like this and not worry that it's going to cost you your job. He was making 3.3 at Tennessee, definitely taking a pay cut.
Yeah.
So, but I applaud him for.
By the way, that's stunning that Tennessee pays its baseball coach $3.33 million.
Yeah, and so obviously they have a couple boosters for big baseball fans to donate to that kitty. But if how do you pronounce the name?
Is it Vitelli, right?
Vitelli. Okay, let's say you're Vitelli. Is you go to the Giants. If it doesn't work in 3 years, you can name your college job.
Oh,
so for him, it makes a lot of sense. And I applaud the Giants for thinking, not even outside the box. They're thinking outside the store. Yeah. And, it's a story I'm going to be following for sure.
Yeah. JJ, what would have been your reaction if the Braves had
I would have been pissed.
Yeah.
I would have been really pissed. Like, the first time in Major League history and we do it. No, I don't know too much about college baseball. I'm shocked to learn that he got paid that much to coach Tennessee. I didn't know that was such a big deal. But, I mean, if he's the best, I'm assuming he's considered the best in college baseball. I mean, how much different could it be? I sort of am cheering for him now because it's never happened before. But if it happened to the Braves, I would be scratching my head.
Have the Braves hired a manager yet?
No.
Okay. Billy Napier is available.
They're not going to hire
Norvell.
Weiss.
How are we hitting 168?
Yeah. Why did you bunt with 2 outs in the ninth and nobody on?
Why do you have 14 players on the field? But anyway.
Well, I think my last point on the Giants is I think his staff is going to be critical. One thing you read about over the weekend was he is very close with Jace Tingler, who has major league experience. I think a guy like him would be your bench coach to get a Sage. And then also, it seems like he's going to be inheriting some coaches. So, as long as he doesn't say after the game, we put good aluminum on the ball, he should be okay.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, in college basketball, Florida hoops number 3 in the preseason coaches poll. So that seems to be the sweet spot in the polls for the Gators right now. I think the Associated Press had them 3rd as well. So the defending national champions bring back that front court, but not having Walter Clayton Jr. and Elijah Martin and Will Richard. Will Richard, by the way, looked great last night off the bench.
Got a game ball.
Yeah, that was very cool. So Florida number 3, we'll certainly be following that. That'll be a fun story. Are you looking forward to kind of covering Todd Golden?
Yeah, because I've heard nothing but great things about how he is providing insight to the media.
Yeah.
And it's a quick drive. I mean, I've already been out to Tallahassee to meet with Luke Locks, the new coach there. So it's
what'd you think of him?
I was impressed because he says the rule book was something else when he got there. I mean, because he never coached an NCAA before.
Yeah.
And his job would have been the Knicks bench as the number 1 assistant to Mike Brown or Florida State. So interested to see. I mean, that is a build.
Right.
And he is recruiting high school players this year, whereas Florida, that's a machine right now.
Yeah.
Just keep it going. And to me, the first month of the season for Florida is this Golden trying to just sort of mix and match a little bit and then get it humming when conference play starts.
We're going to talk about your time with Liam Coen in our next segment, but give us just a quick 30-second preview of kind of what you wanted to get out of that session.
Well, I will say it was one of the more enjoyable experiences in recent NFL memory. So, so that was good. What I got out of it was, hey, 4-3, he would have signed up for it, but he says the last 2 games got out-coached and out-executed. I said, all right, at least he admitted it. So I think he understands that there's a lot of work to be done. But one thing he said a couple of times, and he said this publicly as well, is the high has been high and the low has been really low. Okay, you gotta get that low a little bit higher, and play more consistent. And the penalties, 4th most in Jaguars history through 7 games, and it's just the unforced errors that are really, confusing them and really frustrating them.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to break it all down in great detail. Again, keep an eye out for it on Jacksonville.com. Ryan O'Halloran sitting down exclusively with Liam Coen to go over the first 7 games. And again, Ryan was kind enough to let me read it, and it is fantastic. You're going to really enjoy it. When we come back on The Frangie Show, we will get into all of that. You're listening to 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Get in the huddle with 1010XL's QB.
All right, guys, let's make a play for 1010XL.
David Garrard joins Mike and Fat Tony on Jaguars Today. Restored by Resto Pros of Northeast Florida on 1010XL.
This is your escape. This is your next adventure. This is Mazda, and this is Mazda at the Avenues. Lauren Brooks here. Right now, purchase any new Mazda model, and Mazda at the Avenues will match your down payment or your payments for 1 full year. Plus, every new Mazda comes with 3 years, 36,000 miles of maintenance at no additional charge to you. This is luxury, and this is the start of something new. This is Mazda at the Avenues. For complete details, call 904-430-8047.
I'm Renee Harrell. At Harrell & Harrell, we understand when you've been in an accident, there's a lot to handle. You've lost pay, and now the medical bills are piling up. When there isn't much insurance, some attorneys will pay your bills, take their fee, leaving you with even less than them. Not at Harrell & Harrell. We'll work hard to reduce your medical bills, and we promise our fee will never be more than you take home. Call us today, 904-251-1111. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Offices, Jacksonville.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On October 22nd, 1963, Jim Brown set the NFL single-season rushing record with 1,863 yards.
Big Chief Tire makes auto care more affordable with 6-month financing through the CFNA credit card. Frank Frangie here. Plus, get $50 off your first purchase when you sign up. Whether you need new tires, brake service, or general repairs, their expert technicians have you covered. With no interest for 6 months, now's the perfect time to take care of your vehicle. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 to apply today. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
Hey, this is Lauren Brooks. I love Hello Smooth Med Spa, my go-to for skin health and beauty. Their biggest event of the year is November 19th, National Botox Day. Huge deals, local vendors, and it benefits Make-A-Wish. Don't miss it. Visit HelloSmooth.com for more details.
Anytime you've got major plumbing problems, and even the minor ones, there's several potential causes, and they usually can't be easily detected. So don't guess at a solution. Hire Roland Reese Plumbing at PlumbingJacksonville.com.
Hey, this is Lauren Brooks. With over 1,700 5-star Google reviews, it was a no-brainer to have Closets by Design help us get organized at home. They create custom storage for every space, lifestyle, and budget. From closets to garages to laundry rooms and more. Closets by Design will transform clutter into seamless organization. Call today to schedule a free in-home consultation and get 40% off plus an extra 15% off with free installation, but only until October 31st. 18-month financing is available. Call 904-878-9393 or visit closetsbydesign.com.
Poker players, the World Poker Tour is back at Best Bet Jacksonville, October 30th to November 18th, and the guarantees are massive. Event 1 brings a $200,000 guarantee. Event 6 has a $300,000 guarantee, and the main event has an enormous $1 million guarantee. With 14 tournaments, your chances of winning big have never been better. Want in on the action? WPT satellites are already playing out. Don't get left out. Head to bestbetjacks.com for details. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Hi, I'm Amber Frangie. You know that other Frangie? Well, he's my dad. But I'm here to tell you about how much I appreciate the Awaken 180 weight loss program and how it's changed my life. Like a lot of folks, I let myself go a little. Not proud of that, but it happens. And I wasn't sure what to do. I've tried a lot of other weight loss programs, but they just didn't work. Not like Awaken 180. Can you believe I've lost 70 pounds in less than 4 months? With Awaken 180, there's no medication, no shots, and no side effects. And best of all, really fast results. You eat the food that's provided, and it's really good food. You work with a coach on a regular basis who guides you through the whole process. I'm never hungry. In fact, I never feel like I'm sacrificing anything. Just living a totally normal life. That's my new normal. And now, in October, they're offering free consultations. So there's no reason not to call them and learn more. Call them at 844-346-1800, or you can visit awaken180.com. It really has changed my life, and I bet it'll change yours too. That's Awaken 180.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
Back to a Coen and Sons Wednesday. Since 1927, they've been around the block and probably fenced it too.
We certainly appreciate our friends at Coen and Sons. Ryan O'Halloran is here joining us, the sports columnist of the Florida Times-Union. Frank Frangie on vacation this week. I'm Hayes Carline along with JJ LaSelva. So, Ryan, take us through this. You met with Liam Tuesday?
Yep.
Okay, kind of just give us the lowdown. Like, how was he? Just the demeanor, what his office was, it look like? Just give us the picture.
Well, I'll start with the office because I hadn't been in there yet. And it faces the second floor, it faces the practice fields. And he has these 2 gigantic screens against the wall. You would think they're just windows. I mean, that's how high tech it is. And the first thing that jumped out to me is he has one of those desks where you can crank up to raise to you so you can stand at your desk. So I didn't see a chair behind his desk. And so we sat at a conference table, and you mentioned his demeanor, and that's what I started off the interview by saying. I said, hey, you've only had 3 losses, but one thing that has struck me on a Monday is you're measured, you're calm, and you're looking forward. Where did you learn that from? He says, funny you should mention that because his first boss, who's his coach at the coach at Brown, was in London last week, and they were talking about that. And one thing he said he learned from this coach was, don't lose the game again on Monday and Tuesday. And so he goes, does it still eat me up? Yeah, but you have to portray calm, confidence, and looking ahead. So, and then my second question, this is when the fun began because, I said, hey, how do you be honest without being negative? And he leaps out of his chair, grabs his clicker. He goes, check this out. So he showed me a couple plays, and we talked about, hey, the first 6 plays, the first 2, 3 and outs. He goes, behind the chains, and he goes, you got to say, hey, keep going, keep going. He goes, well, this is what I talked to the team about today. I said, sure, let's go. And he said it was a 70-play reel to the team yesterday. It was his last meeting of the week and divided into 3 parts. I get into that in the story. But
all from the Rams game? Or
no, from the season.
From all 7? Perfect.
From the season. So, and I divide the story that's going to be in tomorrow's paper into 3 parts. So what I just liked about it is I was learning something while listening to him. And when I transcribed it last night, because I don't use this transcription service where you stick it in your computer, because I want to be able to hear the tone of his voice when he laughs, the emotion, and that goes for the locker room too. And what I learned is just he pointed out a couple things on the L22. Okay, I sort of noticed that at the time, but now I know the why behind it. And so for a football junkie, I just love that stuff because when I got up after the interview, I said, hey, do you mind if I sit with you this offseason and go over like some plays? He said, absolutely. So that'd be a nice X and O conversation. But to sort of sum it up is one thing he told the team yesterday was everything's in front of them. At 4-3, if they clean up some of the stuff, they have not played their best yet for 4 quarters in a game. So that was the optimistic part of what he tried to tell the team.
I thought it was also really cool that, and you lay this out very well in your column, the first thing that of the 70 plays that he showed him, like you said, he broke it into thirds. The first third, I thought, really revealed a lot about Liam Coen.
Yeah, because the headline on the PowerPoint was, it's on us as coaches. Okay, and that's a great way to start. Hey, point the thumb, not the finger. And he showed the 4th and 7 play at the Rams 11, late first half, where Lawrence ended up having a scramble for 4. He goes, play call sucked. He goes, I sucked on that play. And he goes, I did not give Trevor a chance to make that successful. He goes, and he rerouted like 4 or 5 times. He goes, covered. Okay. And so okay, start with that. Then he gave me a defense example. Then he gave me a special teams example. Then after that was, hey, self-inflicted. That was a long reel. But then he sort of, hey, let's end it on the good stuff. He says, look at all the good bleep we've done this year. And that's how he ended it. And he was showing some of the plays. Okay, remember that one. And I mean, he even put a play in there that was the TV copy, which had the audio so you could hear Lawrence's snap count. Oh, so, wow. Hey, this is a cadence play. This was a cadence mistake. So,
is it when he gets to is it like literally 2 clicks and he's there?
Yeah.
Is it
he was
incredibly efficient in terms of him doing this?
Yeah, he was trained on that XO's clicker, which is smaller than like a traditional remote. But I'll wrap up this part by saying, I wish every fan could have been sitting there with me.
Right.
And some media members.
Yeah.
Because that is one of the great parts about this job if you are invested. And I've been able to sit with Mike Shanahan, Joe Gibbs, Vic Fangio, Vance Joseph,
Gus Bradley.
Gus Bradley many times, which most of the time turned into Gus saying, well, how are things at home? I said, I live alone, Gus. Well, I know that. How are your parents? So, and you know, and really, in Sean McDermott, we got a pretty good rapport by just, you know, BSing a little bit and him giving me some insights as well. So, you know, this was a fun one, and you know, you have to do a lot of stuff that isn't, but this was a fun one.
And it shows up in how well it's written.
Thank you.
Again, I encourage everybody to go read it at Jacksonville.com. Once it's posted, and you'll tweet it out as well, and you know, so be looking out for it.
And then
and
part 2 on Friday, which we'll talk about tomorrow.
Yes, absolutely, and in staying with it, so he shows the first block of the 70 play video is criticizing the coaching decisions, the coaching gaffes. The second part are the self-inflicted wounds, the penalties. I didn't realize this until I read it in your story. They're not just bad, they're historically bad so far with the penalties.
Yeah, 4th most for a Jaguar team through 7 games, which is an accomplishment considering how bad some of these Jaguar teams have been, including expansion. So that got, you know, because I first looked that up. Okay, it leads the NFL, and then they have a lot of decline penalties, so that totals up. But I was looking just for enforced penalties. I said, well, it's got to be top 5. Well, and it's top 5 is 4th, and you know, some of those years they had really few penalties. So I don't think it's a discipline problem. I think it's a, you know, concentration problem. I mean, you got to line up. You don't false start. And I thought, and I have this in the story, is he also showed clips of self-inflicted wounds can be bad technique and bad fundamentals. That means you hold a guy because you're grabbing the outside of his shoulders. That's going to get called every day of the week. You got to grab them inside and, you know, sort of legally hold that way. So just those little things that they got away with against Carolina, and they got away against Houston, double-digit penalties and won the games. That bill came due against Seattle and the Rams. And look, even as he said, he goes, they were called for 18 penalties against the Rams. 13 were enforced. 13, I think. He goes, if you cut that number in half, what would the game look like? Maybe you don't win, but because the Rams are good. But, you know, if you get that Parker Washington punt return, what is it, 14-7 at that point?
Yeah. So,
okay, you got a little bit of sideline energy going, and maybe you lose 28-17 or something like that. So it really these are big penalties that they're making.
Without a doubt. And the thing that I do think it's tough for Liam, I think it would be tough for any coach, regardless of if it's your 17th year or your first year. That seems like a hard thing to find answers for in the middle of the season, other than just saying to guys, stop doing it.
Yeah, and you can show the clip on Mondays and say, don't do this. Well, this is a 46-man active roster on game day. You can't be taking guys out after every penalty because, A, that hurts everybody, hurts the team, but also you don't have the manpower to do it. This isn't like college football where they have 17 specialists lined up. So, so you just gotta. It starts with the players. It starts with leadership, and until they get it fixed, I think this team is going to be up and down.
And then again, just to finish this up, he talks the final part of the 70 play video that he showed the players is all the good stuff they've doing. We're losing sight of it, and I understand that, coming off a very disappointing loss in Wembley and a loss to the Seahawks at home prior to that, but he did want to emphasize, look, we have done some really good things in these 7 games, as evidenced by a winning record. I thought that was really interesting reading it in your column.
And it makes sense to connect the dots because we talked to Robert Hainsey on Zoom yesterday after that meeting. That was the message. Say, hey, are you happy at 4-3? No. Are you ticked off? You lost 2 in a row? Yes. But hey, just get back on track. He let the coaches go last night. Nobody's in the building Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They're going to have a bonus practice on Monday. So come back recharged. And, hey, this is a 10-game sprint now. There are games on this schedule you should win if you are even competent, because you're facing some bad teams. Just win those games you're supposed to, and maybe if you can steal one or two, you're going to be a wild card team.
Were you surprised at how he structured this week, that they didn't do a little bit more, or was he in line with what you can do with the CBA? Could he have practiced them? They didn't practice at all, right? They just did the kind of the film stuff on Tuesday. And then could he have practiced them on Wednesday if he wanted to?
He could have. He could have practiced today.
So he kind of, despite losing 2 games after a spin in a week in London, he gave them a little bit of a perk.
Yeah, and I think part of the payback is they're going to practice Monday.
Right.
Whereas a lot of teams bring them in Monday, just have meetings or a walkthrough, whatever. So if I'm him, I go at it on Monday. I put the pads on. Or definitely Wednesday, I put the pads on. So, because one of the things he talked about after the Seattle game with the run game is maybe they have to do that. Well, a short week after Kansas City, you shouldn't, and they didn't. London, they didn't. So maybe he wants to get back to that a little bit. But yeah, so, even the coaches are out of the office, because he said one thing that McVay did well is, hey, and he said this, he goes, lost 2 in a row, didn't play well. He goes, should I keep the coaches here until Friday? He said, no. So they're going to do some things on Zoom as a staff. But there's one thing that Liam said, because I said, what's the Coen clan up to this weekend? He says, they're staying home. He goes, we moved into this house in July. I haven't been able to enjoy it. So they're going to be a homebody family this weekend.
That sounds good, and that we know that's going to do wonders for morale. So that's good stuff from Liam Coen. Great job with the column. And again, I know fans are going to really enjoy it. You can find it on Jacksonville.com. And you're a busy guy. You're going to go talk to Graham Mertz here in about a minute. The Texans quarterback, about Florida's new play caller.
Yeah, and so I'll dash out of here maybe during the commercial break and use your phone to record it. And so thanks to former Jaguars PR person David Wolf for arranging this on about a 20-minute notice. So David, you got my vote for the Roselle Award.
That is hard to do for sure. All right, well, we will come back on the Frangie Show, and we will continue to talk Jaguars. A lot of things that I want to get to in regards to Trevor Lawrence, his relationship with Liam Coen. Mike Sando in The Athletic wrote something about quarterbacks that are sort of struggling, and he included Trevor in it. It was more about Tua, but Lawrence got mentioned, and there were a couple of negative comments in it that I want to talk about, and just also kind of a lot of topics we want to get to. What the Jaguars have an issue with safety, Greg Newsome trade, what's going on with that, the screen game, and we'll talk about the onside kick. The players union is now saying, you know what, maybe the onside kick does need to be looked at, which I am totally in favor for. I would love that 4th and 15. So we'll get O'Halloran's thoughts on that as well. But you were listening to The Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Hey Jacksonville, Rick Ballou here. Looking for a brand new truck? Right now, Crew Cab Ram trucks start at just $38,900 at Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram West Side. And every new retail purchase comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty and no extra cost. From tough Ram trucks to adventure, ready Jeeps, they've got the perfect ride waiting for you. Stop by Commonwealth Avenue or shop online at jackswest.com. Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Westside, proud partner of the Jaguars.
This is Richard Miller with your Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles Update. Upper Deck Series 1 hockey hit shelves last week. The big chases will be the Young Guns, rookie cards of 50 hockey first-year players. Series 1 hockey, you can find it at Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles. Update your collection.
This is Jaguar Hall of Famer Tony Baselli telling you about Heritage of North Florida, Jacksonville's premier roofing and home remodeling company. With over 25 years of trusted experience, Heritage of North Florida has built a reputation for quality, reliability, and craftsmanship. Whether you need a new roof or updating your kitchen or bathroom, trust the pros at Heritage of North Florida to create the perfect place to call home. Mention Jaguars to get $1,500 off your next roof or kitchen remodel when you go to heritagenfl.com. Go Jags!
Rick Ballou here with a congratulations for John's Auto. They've been in business in Jacksonville for 40 years. That's right, going all the way back to 1985. Right now, they'd like to thank each and every one of you who's ever gotten their vehicle serviced at John's Auto. So, car, truck or diesel, all makes, all models, whether it's a routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul, go to John's Auto on Arlington Road, johnautomotivejacks.com.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
This is Jeff Middlecoff with Cogent Bank. My associate Ryan Salem and I joined Cogent Bank because we wanted to revolutionize the mortgage business, just like Cogent Bank has revolutionized the banking business. So Ryan Salem and I are able to leverage the power and stability of Cogent Bank to go out and find our clients the best investors, the best products, and the best rates in the entire country for your particular mortgage loan. Of course, you don't have to be a customer at Cogent Bank to take advantage of our mortgage services to buy or refinance your home. We offer jumbo loans, VA, FHA, conventional, and investment loans. At Cogent Bank, we offer mortgages nationwide, so we can help you with a second home or help a family member who lives or is moving to another state. Call Ryan Salem or myself, Jeff Middlecoff, at Cogent Bank today, 904-442-9191, to see how we can help you with any of your mortgage loan needs, whatever or wherever they may be.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, Cogent Bank, NMLS ID 402296, Ryan Salem, NMLS ID 1182429, Jeff Middlecoff, NMLS ID 249086.
It's holiday season and it's not too late to find the perfect spot to celebrate with your team. Fourscore is a place that brings the energy, where great food, craft drinks, and unreal vibes meet cutting-edge full-swing simulators. Don't play golf? Do not worry. With over 40 interactive games, Fourscore has something that everyone will enjoy. Perfect for company outings, birthdays, and even private events that go beyond the ordinary. With locations in historic San Marco and centrally located Gate Parkway, Fourscore is ready to make your next celebration unforgettable. Hit the easy button and book your event today at fourscoregolf.com.
Jacksonville is football season, and Duck Duck Rooter is proud to be on your home team. As a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, we tackle plumbing, septic, and air conditioning problems with championship-level service. Call 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Now, Hammer Time with Hayes, driven by Kia on Atlantic. Southside Kia is now Kia on Atlantic. Check us out at KiaOnAtlantic.com.
The further that we get into this Jaguars schedule, the further that we get removed from Sunday's disappointment in London, you start to get a view of the bigger picture here. And I got to say, it's pretty staggering that the Jaguars are 4-3 when you consider some of the things that have transpired in these 7 games and against the schedule in which they played. Let's start with Josh Hines-Allen has a half a sack. There are 250 players exactly in this league right now that have at least one sack. 250. Josh Hines-Allen is not one of them. Trayvon Walker has 2 sacks. There are 57 players in the NFL that have at least 2.5. That's where your top 2 edge rushers are through 7 games. Now, again, I think they'll heat up. I think that number will greatly rise. Trayvon's been dealing with the injury, and Josh Hines-Allen has done some good things, obviously. Was fantastic in the win over Houston. Made the play that sealed the win. But obviously everybody is wondering, and including Josh himself, how through 7 games just has a half a sack. So that's been one thing. Brian Thomas Jr. has just been abysmal. I mean, abysmal. He was 3rd in the NFL in receiving yards last year. I thought he was headed to superstardom because of all the things. He was able to be 3rd in the NFL in receiving yards last year with a backup quarterback. Teams certainly figured out he was the number 1 option late in the year, didn't slow him down. He is he isn't doing really much of anything right now, unfortunately, for the Jaguars. Just you couldn't draw up a worse start for Brian Thomas Jr. Your field goal kicker, Cam Little, has missed 4 field goals and an extra point. Your franchise quarterback is completing 58.7% of his passes. He has an 80.6 rating, which is dismal. On 3rd down offensively, you're converting 33% of the time. That's hard to do. That's 29th in the NFL. You've got 65 penalties for 528 yards compared to the opponent's 44 penalties for 394 yards. The Jaguars have 4 of their 7 games. They've committed at least 10 accepted penalties. In 5 of the 7, there's been at least 9 accepted penalties. Yet they're 4-3 against a schedule that, as you look at it, has been incredibly impressive. The Jaguar opponents so far are 28-20. Carolina, remember when we thought that was easy? You know, okay, yeah, they beat Carolina, drama-free win. Okay, Carolina's one of the worst teams in the league. Well, they're 4-3. Cincinnati's 3-4, you know, hanging in there without Burrow. Houston's the worst team they've played at 2-4. And Houston has the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL. So it's not like they don't at least present one major problem when you face them in terms of their defense. San Francisco is 5-2. Kansas City is 4-3. Seattle's 5-2. How are the Rams? 5-2. So my point in all this is, obviously, it was incredibly disappointing watching them play on Sunday and get routed in London, especially when they'd been there all week. The Rams flew in basically 15 minutes before kick and looked like the fresher team, the more energized team, and certainly the team that was able to execute at a much higher level. That was incredibly disappointing. They've lost 2 games in a row. It's disappointing. But when you look at all these things, if I had told you September 1st that we'd be 7 games in, we've made it to the bye, Josh Hines, Allen, and Trayvon Walker have 2.5 sacks combined. Brian Thomas Jr. has been the biggest disappointment on the roster. The field goal kicker has missed 5 kicks. Trevor Lawrence is completing less than 59% of his passes. On offense, you're 29th in the league on third down, and you've committed 65 penalties compared to 44 for the opponent? I mean, you'd probably be sitting here thinking, okay, so they're 0-7 or maybe 1-6. So they're 4-3. Obviously, there's some good things happening here, and I think it will continue. We've talked about the schedule at great length. They've got 4 wins. They still have a game against the Raiders, the Cardinals, the Jets, and 2 against the Titans. That's a pretty clear path to a 9-win season, and obviously they could certainly take down some of these other teams where it's going to be going against competent squads like the Chargers. You've got 2 against the Colts. You do have the return game in Houston. So a lot of the division is still left to play. But it's stunning to me that these are the numbers and they're 4-3. Just something to kind of keep an eye on as we start to get closer to a Vegas game that, frankly, I think it kind of makes or breaks their season. I mean, I think if you lose to the Las Vegas Raiders with what they have shown. Now, the Raiders have a bye week too. Pete Carroll's a good coach. They're going to make some adjustments. They're getting Brock Bowers back, it appears. But Geno Smith has been just atrocious this year. I mean, for a Jaguar defense that's been taking the ball away like they have been, and again, they're still, doing compared to the rest of the league, they're still doing a fantastic job with that. They're second in turnover margin at +8, 14 takeaways. Geno Smith has been, throwing multiple interceptions almost every game. Last game, not so much against Kansas City because they only ran 30 plays. So the point in this is, yes, there's a lot of stuff that we can pinpoint that's got to get better. But obviously, there's also a lot of really good things that have happened here for the Jaguars to be 4-3 against a schedule that is a combined 28-20. Just something to think about when we come back on the Frangie Show. We're going to get it to the trade deadline, talk a little bit about that. Want to get O'Halloran's thoughts on that. Also want to ask him about a couple other things. The safety play, the Greg Newsome trade. We're now a couple games into that. Weigh in on that. So lots of good Jaguar stuff coming up. You're listening to the Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
The best place to get trucks is Nimnick Chevrolet, but did you know Nimnick Chevrolet is way more than just trucks? While most dealerships are running low, Nimnick has the largest inventory of new Chevy SUVs in town right on their lot. With low promotional rates, now is the time to save big on the most popular Chevy SUVs like the all-new redesigned Equinox. Plus, with cash incentives and Nimnick savings, you'll save thousands only at Nimnick. If you're looking for better fuel economy or just need a little more room for your growing family, Nimnick Chevrolet's wide range of models ready to drive means you'll find exactly what you're looking for at Nimnick. So head to Nimnick today. Of course, it's the best place for trucks. When you go to Nimnick, it's way more than trucks. It's great SUVs as well. So hit the Nimnick today. Where's the best place to get cars, trucks, and SUVs? Nobody but Nimnick.
Gator Bites Podcast with Ryan Green and Dylan Denmark. New episodes every Wednesday.
Search 1010XL Florida Gators Podcast.
In Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Podbean.
Or visit 1010XL.com.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. When it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The doctors at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists have resolved my hip and foot issues, and I'm back to training for the 2028 Olympics in LA. This is Garrett Scantling, and I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
This is David Garrard. Following my knee surgeries and recovery, I'm continuing to feel great and would recommend Southeast Orthopedic to anyone who's experiencing orthopedic pain.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
When you want to be heard, send your opinion to the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
Thank you for believing in me when the bosses didn't give me a chance.
641-1010. No texting and driving. Get your thoughts heard on 1010XL.
Overheard at the Hard Rock Bet Party.
You see that new welcome offer? Bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. I think we got to jump on this.
What's John Daly think?
I think you got to grip it and rip it.
Grip it?
And rip it.
Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook. Roll with us. New players bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Payable in bonus bets, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 and up and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
With Lee and Kate's Glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
Frank Frangie for Lee and Kate's Glass, still family-owned and in business for 100 years. When they say you're going to see a big difference, that's for everything. Custom showers and spas, tabletops, mirrors, even replacing foggy windows, all at a more affordable price. And with your satisfaction absolutely guaranteed, Lee and Kate's Glass is your best choice. Visit leeandkatesglass.com.
With Lee and Kate's Glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. Hurricanes happen in Florida. That's not news. But what happens even more often than hurricanes are home break-ins. And if security is important to you, you might want to look into hurricane-rated impact windows.
What you may not know is that hurricane-rated impact windows not only help protect your home in case of a hurricane, but they also offer another level of security for your home.
Have you seen those videos on YouTube that show people trying to break through an impact window? A thief is way too lazy to spend his energy trying to break through one of our impact windows. That's why he doesn't have a real job like you. He'd rather break your non-impact window while you're at work. Window World has high-quality, very affordable hurricane-rated impact windows to help protect your home from hurricanes and from lazy thieves.
Call us today at 904-443-7001. Get a free estimate and see for yourself. You save energy, get more security, and the windows add value to your home. With all Window World windows, you get the best guarantee in the window replacement business.
Window World,
simply the best for less.
And thank you for your business.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
Back to a Coel & Sons Wednesday. Since 1927, they've been around the block and probably fenced it too.
We certainly appreciate our friends at Coel & Sons.
I'm back.
You're back. How was Graham Mertz?
He was great. Gator fans should be excited about what they're going to see offensively in the Georgia game with Ryan O'Hara. And I root for anybody with the Ryan OH. So he's got my support. But he said that he learned so much from him last year when he transferred in from Wisconsin. And you look at the room that they had last year. You had DJ Legway's a true freshman. Graham Mertz was the graybeard, and they made it work to play them both. But that's why I'm going to picking the Gators.
Really? Wow. How about that? You heard it here first.
And then I'm going to go.
I am not.
Before the game, I'm going to go get a feel for the atmosphere. See how many chop chops
Right.
and how many woof woofs there are.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think I know somebody that would think that's an excellent idea of how to spend the pregame. JJ, we've got something to give away. Tell us all about it.
I have a family 4-pack of tickets to the Florida Forum Speakers Series featuring Caitlin Clark. That is October 29th. So be car number 4 right now at 641-1010.
All right, that's great stuff. Caitlin Clark in town. I hope she has a wonderful time.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get to that because
Yeah.
I went to the Peyton Manning one when I was back in 16, I think, and it was just a couple weeks before he announced his retirement. But always interested to see what the format it is, like a question and answer, and so I may make it downtown for that next Wednesday.
When can people look forward to your O'Hara column?
That will be early next week.
Okay.
Got a fun column for Sunday's paper, which you have to file early with our production schedule, and you helped me out on that. Is all the years of Georgia, Florida, this will be only the third time an interim coach will be involved, all by Florida.
Yeah.
84 was Galen Hall. 89 was Gary Narnell. And now we got Billy Gonzalez this time. So Gator fans should hope of a repeat of 84, in which Kerwin Bell threw a 96-yard touchdown and Galen Hall got carried off the field.
It was unbelievable. It was an unbelievable day. I was a little kid, but I still remember it. And Kerwin Bell tells a great story about that. He was a freshman, and they sent the play in. And, you're backed up at the 3, and this is 1984 football. This isn't now where everything's a throw.
Yeah.
And so he gets the play call, and he signaled, give it to me again, because he thought he misunderstood it. And he got it, and he was like, okay, and Ricky the Rocket down the sideline.
Yeah, it was one of his 9 completions for the day.
Yeah, so. Unbelievable. Yep. And Gary Darnell. I was actually at that game. That was the game I've talked about where I went with my dad. I was 13, and it was the first Florida-Georgia game that I'd ever attended. And Florida knew it was going to be a tough day, but still, you're a little kid, you're optimistic, and you go. And I'm going with my dad for the first time, so it's a big deal for me. And Georgia wins the game handily. I don't remember the score, but it was
27-0.
It was what?
27-0.
27-0. Yeah. So we stayed the whole time. So we're leaving the stadium, and as we're walking through the concourse, all the Georgia fans are chanting, "It's great to be a Gator hater." I just lose it.
Well, Hayes Carolina did not like that.
I just start bawling. Losing it, just can't believe this has happened. And my dad put his arm around me and said, "Son, don't worry. The savior of our program is coming, and these days will be a memory." And he was right. They hired Steve Spurrier a couple months later, and Spurrier was, 12-1 against Georgia?
Yeah, so that's the silver lining of this year.
Yeah.
Lane is on the way.
That's what you hope.
And,
you hope you're seeing a repeat of 89 and then that glorious 90 through 01 run.
Last great note about the 89 game. Looked at the Atlanta paper. The lead player, the player whose first quote appeared, Bill Goldberg.
Really? That is awesome. Did the quote then say something like, "And Sting is next, and then Hogan.
I'm undefeated.
I will never lose." But great stuff. Let's get back to the Jaguars. We have a couple minutes here. By the way, we did have some breaking news in the break that we want to touch on. University of Florida head baseball coach Kevin O'Sullivan will take a leave of absence from his coaching duties to address personal matters. That is effective immediately. Florida has announced that an interim an in-house interim will take over and lead the program. And O'Sullivan put out a statement saying, "I appreciate the support of the university and athletic department. I have some personal and family issues that need my full attention at this time." And then Scott Strickland has a statement here as well, saying Coach O'Sullivan has our full support as he takes the time he needs to focus on personal matters. We appreciate his openness in communicating this decision and respect his need for privacy. So crazy day in SEC baseball.
Yeah, and on O'Sullivan, he's already suspended for the first 3 games of the season, so now his name is back in the news on this one. I mean, if there's a time to do it, now. But yeah, in between Tennessee and now Florida with this 440 news dump, interesting story.
Without a doubt. Let's. I wanted to touch on a couple other things with the Jaguars. First off, you were on the phone with Mertz, but I was sort of making this point in the last segment. It's kind of stunning that they're 4-3 when you consider the litany of things that have gone wrong. The lack of production from Hines, Allen, and Walker, the kicking struggles, Brian Thomas Jr. struggles, Trevor Lawrence struggles, penalty struggles, and they're 4-3 against a tough schedule.
Yeah, and the funny part, it's not funny, but the reality part is they figured out their turnover thing. They haven't given it up.
Right.
So, I mean, they had the interceptions early when they were winning. It just shows you stating the obvious, takeaways are the great equalizer. And also when you score on special teams like in San Francisco, and when you score on defense against Kansas City, that covers up so many other things like penalties, like interceptions that you're throwing, like drops. So they were cheating fate there for 4-1, and it's like, okay, can you get the Seattle game? Because you knew the Rams are going to be tough, but they, it's a long list of things, and that's not to sound negative because they're giving us the list, and because they realize that they've been fortunate. They played some good football, and they played one start-to-finish clunker, but there have been other dips in their game, like a lot of teams, but they've been able to get away with most of those.
Do you think safety is an issue for the Jaguars?
I think it is. Eric Murray has been in and out of the game with that neck injury, so that's a concern. And then, with Andrew Wingard is, he's been beat for 3 big plays in the last 2 games. Both of those 61-yarders, he did not play that play correctly. Now he gave up the touchdown on the first drive on Sunday. I'll make it a 4th play. Pass interference. No, it was a Rams' second drive. The first one was a terrible call, but so I think they got to look at it, say, hey, who's an option, and I would consider whoever they come up with.
Yeah, good stuff. A couple other Jaguar things I want to get to on the other side. I want to talk about the screen game. I thought watching it in training camp, the timing was impeccable. I think they early on in the season did some good things with it. It seems like opponents have kind of caught up to it, so I'm curious to get your thoughts as to maybe why that is. I have a theory as well, and I want to ask you about the Greg Newsome trade, because it does feel like coming out of the bye, it's now time to start, certainly seeing him play more than what he has played to this point.
Yeah.
So we'll do that coming back on the Frangie Show. Also, in our final hour, we'll have the State Farm College Football Report talking Gators, Knowles, and Canes. We'll do that at 5:15, and Dr. Kevin Kaplan will be in to talk injuries with us as well. You're listening to 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
My dad, Randy Marion, has been in business for 35 years.
35 years of taking great care of your customers.
And our community. It has also been 35 years that my dad has been the king of price.
Yep.
So now's the time to fall into savings and drive in style in a brand new Cadillac.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, drive the all-new electric Optique, Lyric, and Vistique. They're all in stock and ready to drive today.
Come see us today at Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard in Jacksonville.
And don't forget,
tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Plus tax type title $9.99 admin fee and resistol on approved credit.
What does Johnny O know best? O knows Jacksonville football.
Okay, say, oh my.
Wednesdays from 10 to noon on Jaguars Today. Served by Twin Peaks, home of the 29-degree draft on 1010XL.
When you step into a courtroom, you're stepping into a fight. Someone wins, someone loses. I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and at Hastings Injury Law, we've got the experience you want in your corner if you or a loved one suffer a personal injury or a wrongful death. We're here to fight for you. So if you get hit, hit back with Hastings Injury Law, offices Jacksonville. Find us on the web at 904hitback.com or call our 24-hour helpline, 904-HIT-BACK.
AA Automotive helps keep your vehicle in dependable and safe condition. Call Sam, Harry, or Joe, and they'll check your brakes, tires, fluids, electric, and motor, so your ride runs smooth on the road. That's AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Go!
There's a new story written every Friday night in every hometown in America.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Friday Night Lights.
Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning on 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here to tell you about the coolest new thing, a putting green in my backyard that my friends at Sunshine Turf installed. Sunshine Turf can do the same for you. They'll come to your house, they'll create a custom design for your space, and you'll have an authentic golf course experience right in your own backyard. I freaking love it. Sunshine Turf is family owned and they made the process so simple. So visit sunshineturf.info or call them at 904-383-0243 and get a free quote today for your own putting green. Get it from Sunshine Turf.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
I'm with Brett from Cycles of Jacksonville, and the fall part of the year just offers so much fun, especially when you're out and about. Tell everybody what's happening with Triumph right now.
They have got a lot of new models on the road, from Scrambler 400s. They've got the legendary Rocket motorcycle. Lots of really cool bikes to choose from.
And the price point and all the tricks that come with the Triumph bike, they're all there.
They're all there. Entry level to the greatest of the great. We've got them.
Look for them online, cyclesofjacksonville.com. Check out their Facebook page or that showroom on Atlantic near Regency.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental. With light sedation for cleaning, then deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental,
Located in Bartram Park.
Bueller, stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, pal, you look troubled. Is something bugging you?
This friendship isn't all upside for me, Jason. People keep asking me stuff about you.
They ask you about me?
Is it really cooler with Bueller, they ask? So I say, totally. And they say, how do you mean that? And I say, he fixes air conditioners, which literally makes somebody cool. But he also has cool sunglasses and cool people and a cool family.
And I try to make working at Bueller Air and Plumbing a really cool experience for our technicians and plumbers. We treat our people like gold, and they treat our homeowners the exact same way.
Great. Well, now there's another cool thing I've got to remember. This is a lot of responsibility, Jason.
Life can get hectic sometimes. If you don't take a moment to slow down and appreciate all the cool parts, you could miss it.
Do people ask you about me at all?
Weirdly, they do.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Ticket here for Action Garage Door. Nothing more frustrating than your garage door misfiring. When it does, I call Action Garage Door. They take action. Jeff and Art and crew, Jacksonville folks, not some big out-of-town chain. Something goes wrong with your garage door, take action. Check them out. Garage Door 911, GarageDoor911.com.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update brought to you by Honda of the Avenues. Looking ahead to this weekend, 1010XL will be bringing you live on-air coverage of some high school football matchups. Starting on the FM, Bishop Kenny will take on West Side. And on the AM, Bulls takes on Wolfson. Both games kicking off at 7 o'clock. There's 2 weeks left of regular season play before playoffs begin in early November. It's 82 degrees at 5 o'clock time and temp, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
Back to a Coen and Sons Wednesday. Since 1927, they've been around the block and probably fenced it too.
Thank you to our friends at Coen & Sons. Welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank on vacation this week, but Ryan O'Halloran is sitting in with us, the Florida Times-Union sports columnist. You can find his work at jacksonville.com and follow him at Ryan O'Halloran. JJ LaSelva here, as always, running the show. And I am Hayes Carline. Let's talk some Jaguars, and then we're going to move on to college football in our next segment with the State Farm College Football Report. There's a few things I want to touch on here. Let's start with the trade targets. ESPN did something today. It didn't really mention the Jaguars. It was 25 players that they thought could be moved, and it offered places where they could go, and none of the 25 mentioned the Jaguars, which, look, may speak to something you've said earlier, that the Jaguars may not know if they've positioned themselves to be a buyer. But will they want to be a buyer if it doesn't go well in Las Vegas? But let's assume they beat the Raiders. Where do you kind of see it is what the Jaguars, what James Gladstone should look at in terms of improving this roster?
Well, I think you can go one or two routes. And keep in mind, you don't have a first-round pick. So, and I think your second-round pick should be off limits. You got to keep it. To me, a lot depends on the health of Brenton Strange. With that hip flexor, he's out at least 2 more games. And if they come back from the bye or they come back from Vegas and don't feel like he's going to be ready for another, he ends up missing 6-7 games, then I think a tight end rental like Mark Andrews would be on the table. They should have drafted him in 18.
Yeah.
Right that wrong. But
why do that when you can have Taven Bryan?
Wow, not a great day for Tom Coughlin.
That was a swing and a miss.
And then the other position is, and you don't see these guys on here on this list, is interior defensive lineman. You don't hear those guys' names called a lot. And so do you feel like you can get a veteran rental? I mean, Philadelphia, that was they were able to convince Brandon Graham to come out of retirement. So I don't think there's any Jaguars who are retired that they can bring back, but that would be a consideration. And the other thing,
Tony Brackens, James Gladstone here with the Jaguars. How you doing?
And so I'm glad you mentioned Gladstone. That's where I was going next. So, okay, tight end, defensive tackle, receiver. I would call Tyler Lockett. He got cut by Tennessee. He's 33. Hey, come to a playoff contending team, finish out the season.
And you still get to play Tennessee twice.
Yeah, and that would be fun. If I'm James Gladstone, what is my philosophy right now? Do I trade player for player, or do I trade late round pick for player? I think both options are now open at 4 and 3. If you feel like you can improve your roster by trading a depth guy, then you do it. So I think they're going to be making a lot of calls. I don't think they give up on the season at 4 and 4, although I think they should probably pivot a little bit. But if they're 5 and 3 coming back, then I'd say, hey, these guys have earned an addition. They got to get Greg Newsome ready to go. That's the trade. That was the trade.
Why do you think that? Because he's playing a ton. Tyson's playing a ton for the Browns. Well, I mean, I guess you understand it. They went to London, things like that, and he had just been there. But he's played 2 games now, and it's 30 defensive snaps.
Yeah,
like that?
The first game was a surprise. I thought he was going to play like 25 snaps and be
I thought he was going to play basically the whole game.
Yeah, and get his really get his feet wet and then be full go against London. Well, then he wasn't. My only guess, and this is going to sound like an excuse, is that he was coming from a man system to a zone system, whereas with your Tyson Campbell, go out there, cover your man.
Right.
And so I am not going to give a verdict on this trade. I think it's going to help them in the long run.
Yeah. It's more just, do you anticipate going into the Raiders game now that they have a bye? I mean, he's got to be out there every snap, right?
Now you're at the point now where you're going to have 2.5 weeks of practice in your new system. This is now you start. You play 100% of the snaps. If you're rotating with Montaric Brown, then there's a question to be asked. I'll add one more position before I give you the floor, is what's Devin Lloyd's situation? If they feel, and we've been around players that if you come back early from a calf and pop it, now you're out 6 weeks. So they're going to be really erring on the side of caution, as Liam Coen said on Monday to the media. So Ventrell Miller is a very good run defender. He sees ball, hit ball, but that 4th down showed he's got a long way to go in coverage. Maybe you got to consider adding a linebacker.
Yeah, and I do anticipate the Jaguars making a trade. And again, it takes 2, so it's some of it's going to be who's available and what's the price tag. Because I agree with you. You can't trade the 2nd round pick. You gotta hold on to that. And but having said that, it's funny. We're only like a couple days away from the anniversary of the Darius trade, and Darius was like a 5th rounder.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of trade that I'm expecting, is somebody that can help you. That but they don't need to. They're not going to bringing in a quote star is probably not possible anyway. But you're just looking for somebody that can help kind of plug a void that you have right now.
Yeah, and you know, Buffalo ended up making the playoffs that year, playing down here. So I as Gladstone is probably doing, he is checking with every team. Because you never know when a guy, hey, we're 5-3, but this guy is not in our future plans. Let's deal him. It's not going to impact the season. I remember the Darius trade. That was a Friday night.
Yeah.
I think it was the day before Florida, Georgia.
It was.
Yeah. So, and that was a smart move because he helped them down the stretch.
He was great. That was like the one thing they couldn't do that year defensively was really stop the run, and he brought that because Malik Jackson was great at the pass rush part.
Yeah.
And so the combination of those two, it was phenomenal. And then obviously you had the great play on the edge. You had Calais, and that was unbelievable.
I would call Arizona about Calais Campbell. I guess his family was with him in Arizona. Well, he's got one more chance at real playoff success here. This would be the spot. See if he'll be. I mean, that would be on his terms,
right?
But I would check in with him because I think. I mean,
just fly in for the games. You can stay in Arizona during the week,
just like Jefferson and Fast Times.
Exactly.
And here's the thing about Calais Campbell. When he steps in the locker room, he becomes a captain, and he would not put up for some of the stuff that's going on penalty-wise right now. Maybe they need that.
Yeah, it's a good thought. And I think, and a guy like Lockett, too, I think could help on the offensive side with that in terms of, just, again, it's just tips. It's advice that a 33-year-old receiver can give young receivers about, hey, think about doing it like this. Or, think of, just how can it hurt? But be interested to see. I wanted to get your thoughts on the onside kick. The league is apparently, according to reports, disappointed that it's not getting converted very much. So it's almost becoming kind of a wasted play. Do you like the idea of a modification of the onside kick and turning it into, the 4th and 15 from, your own 25 scenario?
I mean, to me, that would be interesting. I would only, I would have a couple guidelines on it. I mean, I think fourth quarter, you have to be behind. You can't have hey, you're the Rams in London, you march down the field.
The Rams have scored 87 points.
Sean McVay, we just scored. I'm making 7-0. We're going for it. And next thing you know, it's 14-0.
Yeah.
But the onside kick is a nothing play. And the kickoff stuff has, I think, it's worked.
I like the dynamic kickoff.
Yeah.
It's definitely made it an interesting play.
Yeah, and with the landing zone and the 40 and the 35 and such. So,
and the ball's getting returned.
Yeah,
which it never was before.
Correct. And so I like the 4th and 15 option under those guidelines.
Yeah, I to be honest, I'd love it throughout the game. If a coach wanted to take the risk and say, I like the way my offense is playing, I think we've got something on these guys. It's 7-0. We took the ball. We went down, scored a touchdown, 7-0. Hey, why not? We're going to let it ride, and we're going to, see if we can get up 14-0. I'd have no problem with it. But it's got to be – I'd almost would like – if I was going to tweak what's been reported, I would almost make it even harder than 4th and 15. Like, make it 4th and 18. Okay. Something in, where it's you got to hit something, like shame on the defense kind of thing. Because even on 4th and 15, you could – potentially just throw like a screen, and the guy might get 15 yards. Except
for the Jaguars, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
4th and 15, from what yard line?
I think they've said your own 25.
Okay, so that's penal if you don't make it.
Right.
So that I like that part. Is there's got to be, it can't be from the 35 or whatever.
Right.
So I like that part, and to me it would make preseason games absolutely bonkers because I remember it was back in 2019. Remember when they had the Sean Payton bitches and moans, so you get the challenge PI before the Broncos played the Hall of Fame game, and a couple of days before, Vic Fangio goes, "You guys can guarantee I'm going to challenge a PI call," and he did. And he got to the press conference. He goes, "Did I tell you?" So and he called it that night. He goes, "This is going to be a 1-year deal because it's so tough to overturn."
In terms of the Jaguar screen game, real quick, do you think are they giving something away? Is there a tell?
Yeah.
Is that why teams are wising up to it over these last 4 or 5 games?
Yeah, and you said it last segment. Maybe it was because the Jaguar defense doesn't defend it well. I mean, it worked. every time during camp.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, man, this is going to be an easy
And it
yardage.
worked in Tampa last year.
So this is going to be an easy play for them to get out of some holes. So, are they having to use your running back as a chip? Maybe. But, I mean, from the first game, Carolina snuffed it out. So it's sort of like, okay, do I have a little project on my hands here to look at it? Because I thought with Etienne and especially with Tootin, he had a good play on the screen game against Cincinnati when he ran over a guy, jumped over a guy. So I think that's going to be one of their self-scouts because, hey, this team needs to get some yardage chunks. Yeah, because they're not doing it in the passing game downfield. So, hey, see if you can get a screen. One thing I did like they did early in the season, they did it once or twice against the Rams, was Tootin and Etienne on the field at the same time. They ran Travis on a speed sweep. I think it was him with Tootin as their blocker, something like that. Just give the defense some different looks.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, when we come back on the Frangie Show, we are going to get it to college football. The State Farm College Football Report is up next, talking Gators, Knowles, and Canes. You're listening to 1010XL 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
Get the weekend feeling all day Friday.
Best feeling in the world, isn't it?
That's why we give you Pre-Game Friday.
You're going to love this.
Get the news, notes, and inside stuff you need to get ready for game day. Built by Dream Finders Homes on 1010XL.
Jacksonville is game time, and just like the Jaguars fight for every yard on the field, Duck Duck Rooter fights for every customer at home. From plumbing repairs to septic pump outs to keeping your AC cool all season long, we've got the winning playbook. Duck Duck Rooter is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars and delivers championship service every time. When plumbing, septic, or AC problems put you on defense, don't fumble the call. Dial 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com. Duck Duck Rooter, when you're stuck, call the Duck.
This is Josh Woolsey with Woolsey Morecambe. When deciding what lawyer to trust with your car accident or injury case, the most reliable way is reviews and results. You want to be treated well, and you want a great result. Woolsey Morecambe's reviews speak for themselves, and I challenge any firm to compare results. We offer the resources of a large law firm and the customer service of a boutique practice. If you want to be treated right and want great results, call Woolsey Morecambe at 1-800-WOOLSEY and take the fear out of the fight. Offices, Jacksonville.
He caught the game winner from Danny Warfel and never looked back. Former Gator Chris Doring joins Dan and Jeff on The Drill Tuesday mornings at 7:20 on 1010XL. Protected by the personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah.
It's the fall savings event going on now at Renewal by Anderson. Upgrading your home has never been easier. Get 20% off replacement windows and patio doors. Plus, no money down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. This offer expires October 31st. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
Hey Jacksonville, Lauren Brooks here for Big Chief Tire. Right now, you can get 6-month financing through the CFNA credit card and $50 off your first purchase when you sign up. It's a smart way to handle big vehicle needs like new tires, brakes, or repairs without the upfront cost. With no interest for 6 months, there's never been a better time to schedule. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 today. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband-wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at Goosehead.com.
Bud Light and everyone at Anheuser-Busch want to remind you to get home safely every time. People are counting on you, on the road and at home. Plan ahead with safe rides, and don't forget to hydrate between beers. Bud Light encourages everyone to enjoy responsibly and socialize safely.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about letting things roll off of your back. So often we can make big deals out of things that are not really big deals. We can allow them to steal the joy of our day. But let me remind you that don't allow anyone or anything to steal the joy of today. Go out today not letting little things steal the big things that God has in store for you.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. In today's world of retail, how has a store like Underwoods stayed viable against the big national stores?
Frank, that's a question with a direct answer. At Underwoods, we've never aspired to be the biggest. What we've always tried to do is be the best. When you take this approach, there's some things that come to mind immediately, like fine quality merchandise bought by buyers that are experts, high levels of service delivered by a staff that are helpful and know what they're doing. Then there's some things that people don't really think about at all, like the finer a gem, the more rare it is. And these gems are not mass producible because they were made by God millions of years ago. Because of that, there just aren't enough of these for the big multi-store retailers to buy and put into their merchandising schemes. So at Underwoods, we buy these finer, rarer gems and create jewelry pieces that the people in Jacksonville expect out of us.
When you want the best, it's Underwoods. Underwood Jewelers in San Marco, in Avondale, and at the shops of Ponte Vedra.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Time now for the State Farm College Football Report with Shane Matthews on the Gators, Tom Block on the Noles, and Joe Zagacki on the Canes. Presented by your local State Farm agent.
Welcome back to the Frangie Show. We are pleased to be joined with Shane Matthews. Shane does an outstanding job providing color analyst on Gators radio broadcast. Shane, how you doing today?
I'm good. How y'all doing?
We're doing great. Doing great. So obviously, we're not going to rehash the game. Florida wins. Billy Napier gets fired. In your opinion, Shane, where does the Florida search need to start?
I think it's one guy and one guy only. I think he's a perfect fit for the Florida Gators, and that is let's head up to Oxford, Mississippi, and get Lane Kiffin to be our coach.
I just did a fist pump, Shane. You probably couldn't see that on the phone, and I don't even root for the Gators. I just want to cover Lane. But the one change besides Billy Napier is Ryan O'Hara calling the plays, the quarterback coach. Do you have an early guess on how that offense may look different against Georgia?
You know, quite honestly, I was thinking about this the other day. I said, if I'm Billy Gonzalez, this would be a lot of fun, right?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter what you do, nobody really cares. But, you know, I would run fake punts, I would run reverses, I'd run double passes. I would throw the kitchen sink at every opponent for the rest of the year because you have nothing to lose. But honestly, I don't know what they're going to do. Ryan O'Hara is going to call the plays. I know he called plays at Alabama A&M University when he was a coach there. He never wore a headset on the sideline his tenure at Florida under Billy Napier. Now he will be the one calling the plays. I'm not sure if that's who Billy Gonzalez wanted to call plays or if that's who DJ wanted to call plays, but we'll see what they can do against Georgia next week.
Yeah, and Shane, like you mentioned, the bar is low. I mean, when you're tied for 103rd in scoring offense as an interim, it's hard to mess it up worse. So I'm excited. In terms of the talent on this roster, let's assume it's Kiffin as coach. If they can retain 90% of this roster, it looks to me like Florida could have talent next year. How do you kind of see the cupboard in terms of it's how well it's stocked for the next Florida coach?
Well, there's definitely some talented players. I think, you know, in today's world, football's crazy because I think certain coaches kind of have what they're going to pick and choose what they want from a player. You know, whether it's Lane or a new coach, he may want some of our guys. He may not want some. He may want to bring in some players of his own. But there's some good young players here that I think most coaches would like to work with.
What do you think would derail it being Kiffin?
I think it would just be if Lane decides he wants to stay at Ole Miss. I know how these coaches operate, you know, from a mind standpoint, and I think there's a ceiling at Ole Miss, right? I've been all over social media because of my radio shows discussing the brand. I'm an Ole Miss guy. My dad played at Ole Miss. My mom was a cheerleader there. I grew up going to Ole Miss games. There's no comparison in the brands, quite honestly, right? Florida's a much bigger brand, get more athletes, more resources. But what Lane's done at Ole Miss is phenomenal to me because I just never thought Ole Miss would be where they are today. But it's going to be his choice, I think. I do think Florida will offer him that job. I hope they do. I think they should, and we'll see what happens.
Sounds great. Shane Matthews talking Gators football. Shane, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week getting ready for the cocktail party.
All right, guys. Take care.
All right, let's get to Tallahassee. Let's bring in Tom Block. Tom does an outstanding job as the Seminoles sideline reporter on the broadcast. Tom, thank you for joining us. Obviously a tough trip to the West Coast. What stood out to you about why things went wrong for FSU in the loss to Stanford?
How long have you got? This is a short segment, isn't it? You know, a lot of self-inflicted stuff again, and you know, when you say again, that has been the pattern. I mean, we're a month into it now, and it's not to take credit away from any of the opponents that beat them, but there's just a lot of shoot yourself in the foot stuff. I mean, they block a field goal, but they're offsides. They've given it, and that field goal, not block it. They're offsides on a field goal. Stanford misses, so it converts first down. Stanford scores a touchdown on that drive in a game that you lose by a touchdown. So things like that. I think the other thing, and they haven't talked a lot about it, but Tommy Castellanos is clearly he's been battling an ankle injury for the last 3 or 4 weeks because he's a shell of himself as a runner compared to what he was against Alabama in the first few weeks, and that has hurt their offense. They haven't been as consistent down to down, series to series, and so, you know, when you mix a 3 and out in around a 10-play drive, the defense surrenders and the defense gets right back on the field. It's just not good complementary football. So a lot of things that are fixable, but things that haven't been fixed, and that's why FSU's in the state they are right now.
Hey, Tom, the bye week probably comes at a good time for this program. What would give you confidence that they can beat Wake Forest and get on a little bit of a run here going into Clemson and going into Florida?
I mean, it's all mental to me. I mean, they're not the most physically talented team in the world, but they've got better parts and pieces than they did a year ago. So right now it's everything neck up. And there's a lot of, I know what the winds are that are swirling around Mike Norvell and his future, and the players are not oblivious. They know that too. So to me, it comes down to, can you, I'll use a Jimbo word, can you block out the clutter, right? Can you forget about everything else and just say, hey, I love playing football, so let me go out and have a damn good game and forget about all that other stuff. The problem is it's hard to forget about all that other stuff. And so they've got to invest, they got to commit. They literally have to do the one game at a time thing. And, you know, they have better players overall than Wake Forest, but they're not a better team than Wake Forest right now. And unfortunately, that's been the case a lot of years here over the last 10 to 15 years.
We don't know whether Castellanos will be available for that game. I was surprised Sperry went in. Was that a surprise to you? I would have assumed Brock Glenn is just a veteran who's played would have gone in, but they elected for the true freshman. Has there been buzz about Sperry?
Yeah, there's been buzz. Brock Glenn was hurt during fall camp, and so that's when there started to be some buzz about Sperry. And I don't know that Glenn has really been 100% all year. He may be 100% now, but Sperry got more of the quality reps, you know, the first month and a half of the season. I was a little bit surprised, and I think the media in general was wondering that. Sperry had gone in before Brock Glenn in earlier games, but there were games that were decided, and the outcome wasn't hanging in the balance. So in that moment, we weren't necessarily sure who we'd see. I do think they like the upside of him, and based on that decision, I would guess if Tommy's not available, that's the direction they would go again. But hard to say with a bye week and 2 weeks to compare him and Glenn and make a call if that's what it comes down to.
Great stuff. Tom Block talking Knowles. Tom, thanks so much. We'll look forward to talking with you next week.
All right, have a good one.
All right, you too. Let's get it to Coral Gables. Let's bring in Joe Zagacki, the outstanding play-by-play guy for the Miami Hurricanes. Joe, obviously, really, really tough loss to Louisville on a Friday night. Let's just start with Carson Beck. I mean, he'd been having a great season. What stood out to you in terms of what went wrong for Beck against the Cardinals?
Well, I think there were a couple of things with Beck. One is I thought he got a little bit greedy, and in the past this year he's been very good at just putting the ball in play, not getting bored with the check down. That being said, you do have to have a long ball in your offense, and so he thought he had a couple of connections on the deep ball. I do have to say this, and I just watched it. The first interception by Quinn, he's a linebacker who went 50 yards down the field and made an over-the-shoulder interception and really kind of just out-muscled Malachi Tony for the ball. So it was not a great night for Beck. The last play, the interception and miscommunication, I would say not a great night for the entire Miami offense. Quarterback always gets the blame. He'll take the blame in this one, but probably not as bad as the stats look.
Hey, a bright spot for the Hurricanes was my favorite player to watch in college football this year after seeing him in person against Florida State is Malachi Tony. how good of a job has Shannon Dawson done creating matchups for him, creating plays for him as he gains confidence playing college football?
Yeah, he's excellent. He just is such a smart player. 38 catches, 510 yards, averaging almost 14 yards a reception, 3 touchdowns, threw a 2-point conversion the other night. We keep mentioning he's only 18 years old. He should be in high school. But this kid was born to play football. He knows how to play the game. He is football smart. He really enjoys the game, loves playing football. He's a dynamic weapon. And he is to Miami what Jeremiah Smith is to Ohio State. He's Miami's playmaker. Their number one playmaker. Now, they've got to get some help. Otherwise, he's going to start getting smothered. But Miami's going to have to spread the ball around a little bit and find some other receivers to add to the equation. But Tony, he's a freshman All-American.
Joe, is there anything that concerns you about Stanford? Obviously, the players will be very in tune with the threat that the Cardinal presents, having just watched them take down the Seminoles.
Yeah, what a feather in the cap it would be for Stanford, right, to beat Miami and Florida State back-to-back weeks. What concerns me about Stanford is Miami. Miami's got to stop beating themselves. They almost did it against Florida State, and they did it last week. As good as Louisville was, as creative as Louisville was in the game, Miami cost that game themselves. 9 penalties, the 4 turnovers, but it's the penalties. It's the dumb penalties, the personal fouls, the early starts, the holding. You got to get rid of those things. You can't win against anybody with 9 penalties. You're not going to out-scheme Frank Reich and Andrew Luck. There's not one scheme that Corey Etherman can come up with on Saturday that Frank Reich has not seen in his career. So Miami's got to outplay, outwork, and out-execute Stanford and stop hurting themselves with the penalties.
Great stuff, Joe Zakacki. We certainly appreciate it. Look forward to talking with you next week, Joe.
All right, fellas, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, that was outstanding stuff. That's the State Farm College Football Report. Shane Matthews talking Gators, Tom Block on the Noles, and Joe Zagacki on the Canes. When we come back on the Frangie Show, we're going to switch gears, get it back to the NFL and injuries in general. Our good friend, Dr. Kevin Kaplan, will join us. You're listening to 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
1010XL is your home for play-by-play of Bishop Kenny football.
After a 4-week win streak, the Crusaders get ready for the Wolverines, hungry for their first victory. Bishop Kenny Westside, Friday at 7 on 92.5 FM.
Make Honda of the Avenues your first stop for award-winning customer service and world-class Honda vehicles. Our inventory is larger than ever, which means we have the perfect Honda waiting for you. Plus, at Honda of the Avenues, we always put our customers first, making the car buying experience fun, fast, and easy. You'll always find great deals on our huge selection of new and certified pre-owned Hondas, all prepped and ready for a test drive. Come see just how different car buying can be at Honda of the Avenues today. Stop by or shop from home at HondaoftheAvenues.com. Proud sponsor of Sporting Jags.
This is Hayes Carlion for Harold and Harold. I was at lunch with my good friend Holt, and he was telling me that sometimes a lawyer can get more from a case than their own client. I was surprised to hear this, but Holt said that doesn't happen with Harold and Harold. They'll never take a fee that is greater than their own client. When they say they treat their clients as a person and not a file, they mean it. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold and Harold at 904-251-1111. That's 904-251-1111.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. From GFL, Green for Life.
Poker players, the World Poker Tour is back at Best Bet Jacksonville, October 30th to November 18th, and the guarantees are massive. Event 1 brings a $200,000 guarantee. Event 6 has a $300,000 guarantee, and the main event has an enormous $1 million guarantee. With 14 tournaments, your chances of winning big have never been better. Want in on the action? WPT satellites are already playing out. Don't get left out. Head to bestbetjacks.com for details. That's bestbetjacks.com.
There's a storm brewing in Coral Gables. Find out which way the wind is blowing.
I'm JJ LaSelva. When hurricane news blows, you'll hear about it on the Performance Painting Hurricane Report.
On 1010XL.
Hey, Jacksonville DDH. Dreamfinder's Danny Hicken here with the scoop from Dreamfinders Homes, your National Builder of the Year. We've got first-year interest rates as low as 2.99% in homes in 20-plus communities throughout Northeast Florida. If you're house hunting, make sure your first pick Dreamfinders Homes, the proud official home builder of the PGA Tour, the Florida Gators, and your Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit dfhsalesevent.com today and tell them Dreamfinders Danny sent you.
Game days aren't the only win happening in the 904. Best of Bolt City named 904 Gutters with a Z the #1 seamless gutter company in Duval. Like the team's O-line protects their QB. Call the winning team at 904 Gutters with a Z to protect your home from the rain.
What if you could pull up to $500,000 in cash out of your home and drop your mortgage rate to 4.99% APR? Hey, Prosper here, and right now at Loan Pronto, they've got the lowest rates in 3 years. With Loan Pronto's rapid equity loan, you can get your cash in as little as 3 days, pay off all those high-interest credit cards, and even skip your next 2 house payments. One client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. Paid off their debt, paid off 2 car loans, saved $2,100 a month. One call, life change. There's no wait, no hard credit pull. You probably won't need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. Rates at a 3-year low. Act now. Call 914-999-1508 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal. See how much cash you can get today. Call 914-999-1508. See how much cash you can get today. You can also visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166171. On approved credit. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
I'm Amber Frangie. Can you believe I've lost 70 pounds in less than 4 months? With Awaken 180, there's no medication, no shots, and no side effects. Call them at 844-346-1800. That's Awaken 180.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
We've certainly had a great Frangie show today. A lot of fun. We talked about Ryan's upcoming column in the Florida Times-Union. He sat down with Liam Coen exclusively for 30, 40 minutes the other day, and we talked about what Liam Coen did in terms of showing the players a tape of 70 plays. Some bad for the coaches, some bad for the players, and then some good for everybody at the end. That was a lot of fun having Ryan take us through that. We did the State Farm College football report. Shane Matthews believes Lane Kiffin will be the target and will accept the job and be the next Florida Gators coach. So we'll certainly hope that Shane's opinion is right on that. We talked FSU, we talked Miami, and now it's time for us to do this.
Now time for the medical update with Jaguars team physician Kevin Kaplan, presented by Orthopedic Specialists of Jacksonville.
It's great to see you.
It's good.
How you doing?
I haven't been here. This is
great.
What
do you think?
I like it.
It's nice. We're enjoying it. We're getting all settled in. Go ahead.
Hayes likes to wave to people who just randomly walk by.
Oh, it's fantastic. Well, they wave. They're smiling and waving.
Just wave to him.
Very friendly.
I'd love it to become a thing. Walk by, we'll wave to you, whatever.
You could change society one wave at a time.
We're gonna start right here, right now. Lots to get to. Let's start with Jaden Daniels. The hamstring injury doesn't look like he's going to play Monday night. Ryan talked about this. He's slight of frame. So lighter athletes that are getting contorted by these heavy linemen. I don't know if you saw the play, but he sort of got turned on it. Did that aid in the injury, in your opinion? Big guy tackling little guy?
I think so. I think he's trying to get away from a tackle, so he's obviously really contracting the muscle hard where that guy's pulling on his leg, and so the harder they're pulling and the harder the quarterback's trying to get away, that can certainly increase the severity of the injury. So there's no question they got an MRI and they're trying to figure out what's the time frame, the safe time frame for return, because that type of player needs to be able to run and move and go. And, as we all know, hamstrings can just be a bear in terms of return to play. And we never, as physicians, want to get them back too early, right? We don't want them to re-injury, but we also want to keep them out longer than they need to be out. So it's a tough one.
Big injury for Tampa Bay Monday night with Mike Evans. Two-part question. The first part is the collarbone injury. What does that surgery entail, and also a return to play?
Yeah, so very similar. Right when he went down, I immediately thought of Christian Kirk from last year. Had the same injury we had to deal with the next day. And the surgery itself, when you have a broken collarbone or your clavicle is broken, you basically are trying to put the puzzle pieces back together, especially if they're broken in multiple pieces. Sometimes it's really easy and it's just two pieces that we put together. We put a plate on top with a bunch of screws in place, sometimes one plate, sometimes two, to stabilize the bone while it heals. Most of the time, if it's a relatively simple break, then those can heal in 6 weeks, kind of like what I had to do with Nick Foles back in the day. We got him back relatively quickly. If it's broken in multiple pieces, it's a little bit harder to get it to heal, and so that may be a longer time frame. And so those, especially for them that are, they're in the playoff hunt, it may be closer to playoffs before he's ready.
Second part of that question for me on Evans is he's also sustained a concussion. Does that impact when you can have the collarbone surgery?
A great question. Absolutely. An anesthesiologist doesn't want to put someone to sleep that's had a concussion, obviously a brain type of injury, and you don't want to do anything to alter oxygen flow to the brain. So I bet what they're going to do is have him go through the concussion protocol first, and then get the clavicle fixed. This clavicle doesn't have to be fixed the day after the injury. You can wait 1-2 weeks, even 3 weeks or 4 weeks, but you want to make sure his brain is clear prior to doing the surgery. It's a great question.
Another athlete that's dealing with a concussion, Thomas Castellanos, the Florida State quarterback, just a devastating hit as he was sliding in the Stanford loss. Can you tell, obviously he had sort of the posture, but also just seemed like totally knocked out. As a doctor, can you kind of tell immediately the severity of it just by how the athlete responds to the hit?
You think that. You think that the fencing response and those types of things have a worse, prognostic indicator, but they really don't. It's just the body's response to the concussion. And the reality is the severity of the concussion depends on how long it takes their symptoms to go away. It's an injury to the brain, right? And so some of those guys can, if they have a concussion, will clear pretty quickly throughout the week, and some of them they'll be much more severe and they'll still have headaches, sensitivity to light, can't jog without getting those symptoms to return. Those are the ones that are more severe, as opposed to the actual hit. You can have a minor hit and have a big time concussion that lasts a long period of time.
On the Jaguars front, you're at practice every day, you're on the sidelines every day. Having 5 days off, what can that do for a player who's been grinding since the first week of August?
I think bye weeks are great. It's almost like taking a deep breath, and you see these soft tissue injuries, whether it's calves or quads or hamstrings, and you get that extra period of time to let their bodies rest. It is a violent, brutal sport that they go through on a day in and out basis. And, kudos to the coaching staff and the athletic trainers. I think our guys are, knock on wood, relatively healthy, but everybody has injuries, and it's just such a grind. I wish there were 2 bye weeks, one at the beginning, one towards the end. That would really help in terms of injuries.
We're headed that way with 18
it sounds
games.
Like,
I agree.
In terms of that, if you had to have a week 5 bye or the week 14 bye, because that's the range this year, is there a preference medically in your opinion?
I think you can argue both ways. If you have a bunch of injuries and guys that are soft tissue, 5-6 weeks out, and you're like, man, I wish I had a bye week right now. But we've seen it all over the place, and I think a bye week wherever it is good for the guys to kind of get their legs back underneath them after starting the season.
In terms of Brock Purdy, boy, the 49ers have dealt with a ton of stuff. And I want to ask you about Fred Warner as well, because we haven't seen you since he dislocated his ankle. But let's start with Brock Purdy. Doesn't look like he's going to be active Sunday against the Texans, so it'll be Mac Jones again. He had the toe injury. They brought him back for the Jaguar game. They lose to the Jaguars, and we haven't seen Brock Purdy since. Is that one of the more stubborn injuries to predict a return to play?
It is, because he'll start feeling better, but then when he starts to push off on his toe, he'll pull on that, what's called that plantar plate on the bottom of the foot, the turf toe, and it just will start to be more of a nag. And I'm sure after the game he was sore, and it's not one of those ones you can take an anti-inflammatory and it makes it go away. Those ligaments and that structure on the bottom has to really heal. So, what I'm surprised is they didn't just, put him on IR and, rest him for the mandatory 4 weeks and then kind of slowly build him back up. Maybe they thought it wasn't as severe, but now they're kind of paying the price for that because he's sore. And if you put him on IR now, then he's going to miss another 4 weeks. And so it's such a difficult thing to predict. I don't envy their physicians for having to try to make that decision.
I didn't realize this. Collinsworth said, I believe it was Collinsworth on Sunday Night Football, was talking about turf toe. It wasn't Brock Purdy. It was some other athlete that they were discussing. But he referenced that it ended Jack Lambert's career. Have you ever heard that turf toe was that back in the day could be an injury that an athlete never recovered from? I'd never heard that, but I didn't know if maybe he misspoke or if that was a legit thing.
Yeah, I don't know if they were doing the surgical repairs at the time, and maybe it was a complete rupture in that sesamoid bone, which is like the free floating bone on the bottom of the foot. Maybe it was pulled back and they couldn't fix it, or they didn't have the techniques that the foot and ankle surgeons have these days.
It wouldn't be career ending now.
No, it wouldn't be career ending now. The only way it would be career ending is if the toe then subsequently became arthritic and you got arthritis in the big toe and you had decreased mobility and you just couldn't run as fast and push off. That would be the only reason these days it would be career ending.
Tell us what's going on at the new shop.
So we're real excited. We're now we added on taking care of the Iceman. The Iceman came to us and asked us to be their orthopedic coverage, and so we're excited about that. And that's fun. That's a different sport. Those hockey players,
love it.
They're different, man. They're tough guys. So we're excited about that, and just continuing to build the brand and bring on new doctors and taking care of our community.
So are you going to be able to do sutures in the locker room during a game when a guy gets a broken nose or reset the nose, get called into duty?
That was, the first time I ever covered a hockey game was in LA during my fellowship, and a player got kind of a slash right across the face, and putting stitches in, and he couldn't get back on the ice quicker, and it was amazing. And that's when I realized that hockey players are some of the toughest athletes on the planet.
That's incredible. And where can people go? What website to get more information?
So osjax.com, orthopedic specialist of Jacksonville, and we have 2 offices, one close to here, JTB and Kernan, and then another office down near Baptist South.
Awesome. Great stuff. Great to see you. Thanks so much for the insights. When we come back on the Frangie Show, we will wrap it up. But we've got some things to cover. What about a Lane Kiffin extension? If he was going to stay at Ole Miss, might we have seen that? We saw Curt Cignetti do it pretty quick at Indiana. I want to get Ryan's thoughts on that. You're listening to The Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Hey friends, Frank Frangie here. You know me. I don't mess around when it comes to taking care of business. Well, if your plumbing or AC company is giving you excuses, it's time to make a trade. Call the pros at Duck Duck Rooter. They're the trusted partner for some of the biggest commercial names in Northeast Florida. Their office team keeps billing smooth, and their field techs show up ready to fix the problem. Fast and right. Bring in the starters with Duck Duck Rooter, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Call 904-862-6769. 904-862-6769. Tell them Frank sent you.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700, offices Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
Frank Frangie here from my friend and insurance agent Craig Dewhurst. Craig has been helping families on the First Coast with their insurance needs for 25 years, is your good neighbor and local State Farm agent. Now's a great time to review your insurance policies, whether you need auto, homeowners, or renter's insurance, or insurance for your golf cart, boat, or jet skis. Craig handles all of my family's insurance needs, and even better, he gives back to the community. Call Craig today at 904-940-9740. That's 904-940-9740.
This football season, Hurricane Grill and Wings is your game day getaway. Catch every play with the perfect drink in hand. Handcrafted cocktails like the Millionaire Margarita, Spicy Guavarita, Old Fashioned, or the Red Bullerita. Beer more your style to watch the games? Enjoy an ice cold Bud Light. Game day cocktails and Bud Light specials are here all season long at Hurricane Grill and Wings. Find a restaurant near you at hurricanewings.com.
Have you ever dreamed of owning a handcrafted cabin tucked into a 1,000-acre regenerative farm? Well, now you can. This is Frank Frangie for the farm in Okefenokee, just an hour north of Jacksonville in Folkestone. With only 250 cabins at full build-out, it's a rare chance to live off-grid, but not alone, in a community grounded in nature, food, and purpose. The amenities include a 2,300-acre hunting lease. Learn more at okiefarm.com That's OKEfarm.com.
Fall is here. The air is crisp. Football is on, and the perfect backyard atmosphere starts with a high-quality fireplace from CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. Hey, it's Joe C. Imagine nights by the fire, cheering on your team, surrounded by friends and family. CSS can transform your outdoor space into the ultimate game day destination. Stylish, warm, and built for memories. With several wood, gas, and electric options, let CSS make your backyard the best seat in the house. Visit CSSFireplaces.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code HEAT to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code HEAT for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code HEAT for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Hey, David again here with Royal Pet Services. It's that time of year when rodents start making their way into our homes. Layson, tell them what they need to get in.
A quarter-size hole.
That's right. That's all they need. Hey, tell them where to go for a free attic and exterior inspection.
Visit RoyalPetServices.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
Back to a Coen and Sons Wednesday. Since 1927, they've been around the block and probably fenced it too.
Welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank is on vacation this week, but we've got sports columnist Times Union. I'm messing it all up. Ryan O'Halloran, you know him, sports columnist of the Florida Times Union.
You got there.
Yeah. JJ La Selva is here. I am Hayes Carline, and really appreciate Dr. Kevin Kaplan coming in. Wonderful injury insights. Let's finish the show off before we welcome in Rick Ballou. Let's talk about Lane Kiffin. If he was going to stay at Ole Miss, wouldn't the extension be coming pretty soon? I mean, we saw Kirk Cignetti, Penn State fired James Franklin, and Kirk Cignetti had an extension signed on Thursday and was very clear that it took him and the AD about a day to work it out. Obviously, we know Ole Miss is going to do whatever they can do to retain Lane Kiffin. And I get it. It's just Wednesday. Maybe it's coming. But if you don't see a Kiffin extension in like the next 2 weeks, wouldn't that be an indication that he's kind of told the Rebels, hey, thanks, but I'm probably moving on?
Yeah, and that was my. I got two leans on that one. The first one is that Jimmy Sexton has told the AD, we're moving on. After the season, we're going to be fully committed to the Rebels until the last game of the season. The second part is, we talked a little bit about this yesterday. He's going to see if LSU opens. And to me, that would be the only competition for the Gators. And if you're Sexton and Kiffin, that drives the price up if you got two big guys going after you.
Yeah, without a doubt. JJ, you referenced something that Shane Matthews talked about in the State Farm College Football Report about Lagway. What caught your eye on that?
Yeah, he. What's the guy's name? O'Halloran?
O'Hara.
Yeah.
Well, if
OC.
it was O'Halloran, it would still be an upgrade.
Yeah, it was. But he was like, maybe it was actually Lagway who decided that he's going to be the play caller from here on out. I thought that was very intriguing. Shane just doesn't accidentally say stuff.
and it would make sense because Billy Gonzalez has always been known as very player friendly, and I could see Billy Gonzalez. Look, Billy Gonzalez isn't getting the job. Billy Gonzalez can win these 5 games by a combined score of 500 to 0, and he is not going to be the next Florida coach, and he knows that.
Yeah.
He's just hoping that he can stay on the next staff, whoever that is. So I could totally see Billy Gonzalez going to DJ Lagway and saying, DJ, what would make you the most comfortable over these 5 games?
Yeah, and a couple weeks ago, when Brian Callahan gave up the Titans play calling before, he gave it to the quarterback coach instead of the OC. And the reason he cited was he's worked most closely with Cam Ward. I think, that's probably the reasoning that Gonzalez gave on Monday. But when DJ Legway got up to that podium on Monday, there was a look of unbridled enthusiasm on his face. Like his guy was now going to be listening to him and calling the plays. And that means 3rd and 1 with a lead, he's not dropping back.
Right.
He's giving it to his best, one of his best players in Jaden Baugh.
And again, I mean, the Florida offense has been so reliant on these lumbering tight ends that, for everything Billy Napier was able to do as a recruiter, you would think that he could have landed the best tight ends in the country. You'd think that the way that they operate the offense under Napier, you would have thought he has Brock Bowers and Kyle Pitts on the roster at the same time. And they've recruited all this speed at receiver, but it's useless to you if you're going to throw out 2 tight ends that don't make anybody miss. I mean, they're basically glorified tackles. And so I do believe, look, I don't think
There's
they're
going to
going
be a bump.
Yeah, it's going to help. I don't think they're beating Georgia. I love the fact that you do, that you think Florida's going to pull an upset. If that happens, by the way, biggest upset in series history. I mean, it's a series that doesn't have a lot of those anyway. Florida lost when they were number 1 in 1985, and they got killed. Florida was number 1. I don't think Georgia was ranked. But other than that, I can't really think of a stunner, and this would be a stunner. I mean, Georgia, Georgia's off. Georgia's going to be in the top 5, and Florida's got a losing records, fired their coach. So,
what do you think the point spread's going to be?
I would say you'd have to give me to even consider taking Florida. 18.5.
Whoa, it's going to be less than that.
Well, I think the other thing that Matthews said that was good is let it rip.
Yeah.
You're gonna have the surprise element. You have nothing to lose as a staff. Just go for it all.
Oh, Shane's got him faking punts. You gotta love it. So we'll see.
Just make sure you have 11 guys on the field.
Yeah. Let's bring in Rick Ballou.
Now, the 2-minute drill is driven by nobody but Nimnicht. Nimnicht Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue and Nimnicht Buick GMC on Phillips Highway.
Rick, what do you think about the Gators? Do you think they can find a little mini spark with the interim over this, 5 games they have left?
I mean, tough schedule, and, that begins with Georgia. No doubt about it. That's a big part of it. But, I look at Florida State going in there. Yeah, Norvell, as we've talked about, he hasn't won a road game since the Gerald Ford administration. He's not winning in Gainesville. So, yeah, and that's the right way to go about it because – you know what the difference is going to be between games at Florida and games at Florida State? They're going to boo the living snot out of Mike Norvell and the players at Florida State. Mike Norvell didn't quit on them. He failed. Mm-hmm. He's not a good coach. He tried his hardest. He's a bad coach. In Gainesville, it's going to be a renewed adrenaline and let's support these players. Let's not let them go via the transfer portal. Best of luck to Billy Gonzalez. You're going to bring in another head coach, but it's going to be a totally different vibe in Gainesville and Tallahassee.
Yeah.
As an FSU guy, were you happy yesterday to see videos of the new football facility opening?
Oh, wasn't that great? that was awesome.
What timing?
I mean, yeah. It's an incredible, I had a former player on yesterday and now Lawrence Stample. I'm kind of under the opinion that you can build these standalone buildings and give the stadiums major facelifts that it no longer really applies to these kids because all they care about is getting paid. Now Lawrence Stample will disagree with me. He thinks the standalone building and the locker room and the way that it is still going to be a huge recruiting tool. Again, I disagree with it, but I respect his opinion. So, we'll see. It would be nice to have both, get paid and have the best of the best, and that's what you got right now in Tallahassee.
Absolutely. What's coming up tonight?
We got that. I'm going to begin with the Jags. I got some things that I'm really concerned about with Jacksonville, but I think that's relative. If you look at all 32 teams right now, I mean, every single club has holes. Mm-hmm. There's not a dominant NFL team. So, kind of just look at what you and I even talked about this morning during Duval Rundown. What are the major concerns? And realistically, how many of those can you fix now in season?
Great stuff. We'll be listening. All right, Into the Night with Rick Ballou comes up right now. That's going to do it for us, for the vacationing Frangie, for Ryan O'Halloran, for JJ LaSelva. I am Hayes Carline. You are listening to 1010XL 92.5 FM.